Hello, hello, good evening everybody. Welcome back to Great Ace Attorney. After a little bit of a break, cause my voice went, we are finally back and are ready to continue. I've got my hydration with me, so I think we're pretty much ready to go. Case 3, The Adventure of the Runaway Room. Let's begin!
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident, "I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together."
I don't think that's how the original story went, but close enough.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives. This country is incredible.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So,
Jolly old London.
where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
I don't think the actual court in Britain has giant clockwork gears. Wait, do they did they put the courtroom inside Big Ben? Like in the Ace Attorney world, is the Lord Chief Justice office just inside Big Ben? Is that what that is? That's silly. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. This place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress. There are some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course, but they've only been built in the few short decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar. But I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice Office, Naruhodo-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time, if circumstances were different. We were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. but Kazuma can't. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Yes. And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So, we'd have to return to Japan. If you want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as a law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer, which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. Ah, good morning. Sorry for keeping you. Ah, okay. Actually, I think the voice I gave him was alright, although we could go deeper, I guess. We should probably go deeper. This looks like an older man. An older man with an older booming voice. He is the Chief Justice after all. Oh. I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no. Don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So, introductions. I am Mayo Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. And I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Yes, thank you. Alright, Chief Justice, huh? I am curious about the gears. Is this some kind of clock? Actually, I think we might be inside some sort of giant clock. But those gears are larger than anything you'd find on the steam locomotive, even. It's eerie. Do you think clocks are some sort of hobby of his? Lord Chief Justice, I mean. Well, boys do enjoy fiddling around in machines, don't they? I'm not sure you could fiddle with cogs that size, and I'm certain you wouldn't call him a boy. Still, it's amazing how little noise the cogs make, considering how large they are. There's actually something quite soothing about the precise rhythm. Yeah, we're just inside Big Ben, I guess. Don't question it. Just look at all the naughty books packed together on these shelves. They go from floor to ceiling. And they're all books that you couldn't hope to come by in Japan. It's like a dream. Yes, a very bad dream. You're not all about British law either. There are books about the judicial system of other Western nations. France, Germany, Spain, Holland. What about Russia? Why do you ask? I was wondering about asking the Lord Chief Justice how you say wardrobe in Russian. What do you think? I think perhaps it's a thought best abandoned. Look at these menacing metal giants facing each other across the room. I believe they're... yes, they're suits of armor. Oh, right. I thought maybe they were like the lion dogs we have in Japan guarding shrine gates. No, not at all. In fact, in Europe, suits of armor like these are always possessed by evil spirits, you know. And they roam about in the middle of the night. Really? Is there nothing you don't know, Miss Susato? This book tells me everything I need to know about everything. If you're ever unsure, just ask. Where did she get that incredible tome? In fact, Mr. Naruhodo, I hear that these suits of armor collapse if you get hit by bats, and they leave you in your underwear. It's right here in this chapter of history. Ghosts and Goblins. This must be the Lord Chief Justice desk. I believe it's made of marble. It looks more like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me. I think that's your fanciful imagination at work again, Mr. Naruhodo. If you use everything that's normally made of wood and paper at home, it's made of bricks and stone here. I know. That's why this place feels so overbearing, I'm sure. Alright, let's see if there's anything else interesting. Inside. Nope, okay. We've scanned everything that there is to scan. Take that! Lord Strongheart, may I show you this? To accept this item, issue a receipt, examine it thoroughly, and make a formal statement of my findings. It would require something in the region of 24 seconds of my time. Sorry? Does the item warrant 24 seconds of my time, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, let's leave it for now. Take that, my badge. No, okay. Alright then. London. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, help! I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh? We had a wonderful view of some of London's streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Susato-san. Everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Jolly old London. Yes. There's much excitement about the upcoming great exhibition we will be hosting here in London. Great exhibition. Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. Even if you do say so yourself. The sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times, we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. Lord Chief Justice, I think you were expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report of the situation. I understand a young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. That's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news. Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it is true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Strongheart. What do you have to say, madam? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo, this is it then. The moment of truth. Oops. I picked the wrong dialogue. Oops, sorry chat. I hit down one too many times. They're talking about London again. Let me rehydrate while we're skipping the dialogue. Alright, continuing the study tour. The thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Asogi. At least, that is what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is, this really isn't going well at all. I just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Mr. Naruhodo! I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I going to say? If there is someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer, it's... Actually, there's no one! It's Miss Susato. It's me. Okay. Well, I kinda wanna see the silly options. We're not in court right now, right? Just to confirm, we won't take penalties, right? If we go for the funny options. Is it worth checking these out? Well, probably, right? Just making sure. Alright. Oh, probably. Actually, there's no one. It's only been 40 days since Kazuma died. And yes, I've studied as hard as I possibly could. But can I really stand before this terrifying man and claim that I can do the job? Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. Of course, only one lawyer. But I'm not sure I can stand before this terrifying woman and claim that I can't. I'll end up upside down on the floor if I do that. Not that I'm scared of a Susato takedown, obviously, but still, perhaps I should change my answer. It's me. I can do it! Aw. Okay, well, I guess we're just skipping the Susato option. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but... No qualifications, you say, and yet you still claim to be a lawyer. I have acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. And I had Kazuma to help me, and I was the accused, but glossing over the details. I've been spending every spare moment of the journey here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about British law and the court proceedings while I was on board the SS Burial. The voyage from Japan is on 50 days, I believe. Not what you might call a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on the study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on, and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. Please! 31 seconds. Sorry? Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you in good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Huh? But let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes. You say you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things? Or did his expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden? Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. What do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news. Today? Straight away? If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? How do I get myself into these situations? Also, a day? That's not nearly enough time to review the evidence, interview all the witnesses, and get our case file in order. Nothing like that has ever happened in the history of law in this world before. Definitely. That is a very loud pocket watch. Well, could I ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. Ah, I remember. It's a murder trial. A murder? An extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. It's easy to say, but I should mention, just in case. If the defendant is found guilty, he will, of course, be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? He'll be put to death. Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short sea-based introduction to British law. We can't possibly agree to such a test. We will be toying with a man's life. I am the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it is acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. So the defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Arasogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? Wait. So we're not even having discovery, we're just going straight to trial? Is that what we're doing? Like right away? That's pretty intense, yo. I wonder. Well, he says it's gonna be... It's just trial. We're going straight to discovery. We're going straight to trial. No discovery? It definitely makes things feel quite hectic. But I see. Well, he says it's gonna be an easy trial, so that means the evidence is weak. Is that what he's implying? He's not giving us an impossible trial, right? I don't get the energy from him that he's setting us up to fail. I think he genuinely wants to test us. At least so far. So, we'll see how it goes. Alright then, if I have to give you a decision now, my answer is... I can't do it. I can't get the words out. 15 seconds. Your decision-making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Mr. Sato, but what could I do? It's alright, I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, but resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madame? I think what Mr. Sato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Wait, was that all a secret test of character? Wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that. I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. But that's awful. But that is the truth. No public defense system? Why does it have to be like this? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. Okay, this feels a little more sus now. The fact that it's, there's no other public defender. But then again, maybe that's just how they're portraying Britain back then. Amelia's only hope. So, what do you say now, madame? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, and I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. Indeed. Mr. Sato, can I just ask you something? Carefully. From this position, I can perform a Susato takedown in an instant. I know. Mr. Naruhodo, you heard Lord Strongheart. The trial starts imminently. If I need to throw you, I will. You know, you could just say, I think we should hurry to the courtroom. If you need to ask me anything, it had better wait until we're at the Old Bailey. Alright. Going straight over. Oh, it's that old cop bus. Good old Bobby. Oh, thank goodness, we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. It actually is. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here. There's no sign of him at all. Unless it's a bailiff? So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. It feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madam, sir. Ah. What are you doing following me here? Things are fair desperate, are they? Well, okay. How do I do this accent? This is like... Yeah, this is very London. What are you doing following me here? Things are fair desperate, are they? Sorry? Would you look at those expressionless faces? From the east, are you? We're for Japan, yes. Ah, Japan is it? Right, say no more. So, how much do you need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all while in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. It's grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. 1,000 guineas? Please, Mr. Sato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? This is nothing to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I've enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah! That hit me in the eye! Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to ya, no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, it's a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'll be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial's going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Luster and blazes, do you not know who I am? Me, one of London's biggest names. No, sorry, we've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. Suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park there in the center of London is another beautiful park. Sorry, a park? What? It's called McGilded Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring and sing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park in central London. A city of smiles, that's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its square people. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. But now they've the gall to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with London police, I ask you? Alright, don't pass out. Mr. Naruhodo. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves, while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft Egypt? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This Chancellor of a fella claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it! That's the only explanation. Well? Well... exactly, not at all. It is curious, right? The fact that he thinks that he's just gonna get away with, like... Yeah, something about this seems fishy. Like, he seems to think that he's just gonna go up there and, like, get declared not guilty. But the Chief Justice also said that, so I'm guessing... Okay, there's a few possibilities here. One is the case is really weak, so he thinks that there's no critical evidence, but the prosecution's gonna come in and like, haha, the autopsy report is updated, and then everything is downhill from there, and he's gonna have a breakdown, and he's gonna be like, but my money can't save me now! Oh no! That is scenario one. Scenario 1. Scenario 2. He didn't do it, but he's trying to bribe his way out of it anyway because he just doesn't want to avoid, because he wants to avoid the trouble. So that means, potentially, he has something that he wants to hide. Which knowing my history of Ace Attorney trials means that he did something else. Like, maybe he stole something or whatnot, and he's trying not to let that leak out into court, because if he, like, actually reveals his alibi for the murder, he will be caught stealing or something. So he's trying to bribe his way out of it. And that's why he's thinking, okay, just, you know, have someone stand next to me and then I can bribe the judge and, like, be on my way. Har har har. I think that's a possibility too. So, that's where I'm leading. That's what I'm leading right now. Or, possibility 3, he did do it, this entire thing is rigged, and this is just Daredevil Season 1. But if they do that, that will be the first time Ace Attorney is ever doing something like that. So, who knows, really. Right now, I'm leaning towards Scenario 2. I think it's very likely that he's gotten his money through ill-begotten means, and he doesn't want that coming out in court, so he's shifty in that sense. But we'll see how it pans out. Not at all. Although, it is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry? Did you just say Reaper? Aye. The Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Baroque Van Zeeks. He's the prosecutor. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper. When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. Oh, it's the scary prosecutor again? So what's the gimmick of this guy? And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? So it's reached the desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fella at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Baroque Van Zeeks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madame. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel. There will be me. Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here, I've made up my mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in the... How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance. A student of law, wouldn't you know? It's no accident, I can assure you of that. It's fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. I literally know nothing about the case, or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Listen, Naruhodo. The man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that court, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. It's happening then. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma, because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Exciting. Could we at least get an autopsy report? Something. Anything. A scrap of evidence for the courtroom. Maybe? A court record? Just a scrap. A scrap of evidence, sir. Please, sir, may I have some more? No? Guess not. Whoa, a jury! That's new. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Also, the book didn't say anything about the giant scales with fire in them. I don't think that's actually necessary for the practice of law, but I guess Britain is just very showy. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, what? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. Oh my god, he's a vampire! In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, this court in session. Determine the good faith of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I now call upon the counsel of the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. Oh, good lord. Okay, first, I don't know whether I'm gonna keep that judge voice up, but I'm finding it amusing, so I'm gonna do it anyway. What voice should I give Van Zeeks? I'm taking suggestions. He is a vampire. Raspy Solid Snake voice? I could do that. But what about Castlevania Dracula? What about Symphony of the Night Dracula? I could do either. We could try. We can try each one. What is a man? Okay. The prosecution is fully prepared. I'm going to go with Dracula first, and if that doesn't fit, I'll switch over to Solid Snake. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch Snake's poor victim to the underworld. I get it, he's a vampire. Hahaha. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Those eyes! Okay, yeah, you know, he's a lot more subdued. I don't think, what is a man is going to work out too well, so Solid Snake it is. Alright. Those eyes please me. Look on this. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. Does this fit? Does this work for you, Chad? The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Ugh. A cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes.
Now, Mr. McGurk.
Yes, my lord?
You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You can be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner?
As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young, even if the fellas stood from some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers of yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilded, what a fine young gentleman London has in him. Did you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mother, please may we go and play in the McGilded Park? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. It's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way of words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him.
Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. No. The gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you. These 6 members of the public have been selected on your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, my lord, if the task is to send the rotters to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Ah! Any criminals here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me. You were chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, those people are... the jury. Yes, that's something we don't have in Japan yet. And never will. Except for a very brief period of time. And then it was gone again. It was never kept around for more than one case. But we don't know about that because we're in the past. That's right, I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but... I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes.
Prosecutor Van Zix.
My lord.
Is it a number of years since I see you here in the courtroom? Thought you renounced your fame.
I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity.
So what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance of which the court should be aware?
I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo.
As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please.
Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. You must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as Thrice-Fired Mason. So sorry? Thrice?
He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks of fire was said to be almost indestructible.
The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service of the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here is the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard.
Thank you, Counsel. We shall accept the photograph as evidence.
Finally, a scrap of evidence. Let's take a look at this. Time and cause of death, 15 February, 10 to 11, stab once in the abdomen with a knife while journeying in an omnibus. Died due to internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. Okay. Stab wound, simple enough. I bet our friend's fingerprint is on it. Because it's always our friend's fingerprints, isn't it? Also, there is a button missing from the coat. One button is missing from the coat. Interesting. Face is partly obscured from view by a low crooked hat. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well.
And ye saw... Good lord, is there blood, Counsel?
Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilded's gloves had blood on them.
Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well.
The gloves the defendant was wearing at the time. There's a button in the right. Alright, let's take a look at these. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No. By the way, is Mr. McGilded right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier. Ah, pity. If only he'd been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. We can't rotate this evidence. We can only look at it. Okay. How did I get into this? I'm backed into a corner before I've even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2. Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded.
Well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. Defendant, what say you?
Well, of course, I had no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. Whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it.
Are you claiming to have been asleep?
This is the notion of the carriage, my lord. Lit in, so it is, and when I opened my eyes again, it was a desperate sight before me. The body of a man I've never laid eyes on before in my life. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got on the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it. There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment in which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Rubble.
Order! Order! Order!
When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused was inside the carriage, and there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused.
Thank you, Counsel. Circumstances of the crime have been quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses, first of all.
Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Whoa, 3 of them at once? Whoa. Witnesses, names and occupations.
My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End.
Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. My name's First. Lady First. I, make hats for gents. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present at the stand were in an omnibus, and witness to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Quite right. Yes, sir, that's right, sir.
Very well, then let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw.
Alright. You know what, I think I actually will stick with that judge voice because it's distinct enough. This game's definitely testing my ability to do different voices. You know, I'm having fun with it though. As long as you guys are having fun with it too. It adds more to it, right? Like, compared to if I just read everything in a neutral tone. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. And out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too.
Unambiguous testimony, I must say.
Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may.
Yes, counsel?
Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? This has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those 2 witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. This ignorant little foreigner. How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Islands nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about omnibuses? Filthy gaijin! Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We, only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean? The actual scene? How? The carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Oh, that's gonna be a first. We're having, like, a bigger size evidence exhibit? Interesting. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff! Bring forth the stricken omnibus! So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses, and can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, a skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the crime incident. Through the skylight. Ugh, that makes perfect sense.
Oh God, sir, this is a first. In over years behind the bench, I've never experienced a crime scene somebody brought into the courtroom.
There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish.
Jolly good. Very well. I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence.
Which means we can now rotate and look into it, I guess. Okay. Yep, here we go. Time to deep dive all over this thing. So, like... Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? The scene of a murder. It's horrible. So, like, if you're imagining what's happening, like, what is realistically happening in the courtroom right now, the moment this was entered into evidence, Ryunosuke and Susato got off the bench, walked right over to the crime scene, no gloves, no nothing, just like, well, time to take a look inside, and then he opened the door and he went in. And like, the rest of the courtroom's just staring blankly at them, walking into and contaminating the crime scene, and they can't say anything. Or rather, they now, at this point, they are now yelling at them to get out of the carriage and get back to your desk. But they can't hear them, because they're inside the carriage and they are busy, looking at evidence. Like, really think about what's happening. It's blood on that soaked into the seat. The victim's obviously... Yes, and that seat will be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab somebody in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Also, why is the blood on the seat but not on the back of the seat? That's definitely odd, right? The seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for 2 gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? What about down there? Seat has a handle, it seems. This looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubes, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to store their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway. Yeah, because you have to sit on it. Right. This side doesn't have one. Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Ooh, the Crystal Tower! It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzling with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. That's a skylight. It's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck. And it doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description, so I suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin at least. Alright, interesting. Just gonna close it. Ah, that's a poster for the Great Exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Ooh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. Yeah, it is the same thing. Yeah, same piece of dialogue. Yeah, the position of the bloodstain's a little curious to me. You'd think that, like, the guy was stabbed. Yeah, we have to go back and look at the picture again, but unless the blood was, like, leaking down onto his lap. You seen enough? Let's step back outside then. Unless the blood was, like, leaking down into his lap or something. Alright. But... What? Nani? I just thought of something. The evidence in Japan is written in Japanese. And we're in Britain right now, so this is like stuff that's written in English. I assume that means like, because you know they just subtitled the Japanese and they gave us English, does that mean the evidence in the Japanese version was also in English and subtitled in Japanese? In which case, did they call it the Phoenix Wright Omnibus in the original Japanese version as well? Is that what they did? There's a little shout out. There's a fun little shout out. I see you. Job Masters. Baker Street. We go up. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. now, like, you just imagine the two of them climbing up and, like, the court's just staring blankly at them again. Like, what are you doing? Get back down here, you stupid gaijin. So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them. And they have to pay money to do so. I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as a punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. The front seat, same dialogue? Yeah, same dialogue. Alright, anything else to identify? Oh, that's the skylight. I can't look at the underneath of it. Number 418, Phoenix Wright Omnibus. Okay, I think that's everything that we have in the crime scene right now. Yeah, that's definitely odd. The dude was stabbed. How did the blood get onto the seat that way? If it went, like... If it went all the way through, there might be blood on the back of the seat, but if it didn't, then... I don't know. It wouldn't have spilled down onto the seat, though, like that, would it? At least it wouldn't be in that shape. It would have, like, the impression of the... I don't know. Significance? We don't know yet. Okay. That was a fun little diversion. Analyzing the evidence. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Yeah, we did that.
Let's continue with proceedings at the cross-examination council.
Pray don't expect us Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright. My first cross-examination in a British court. Focus, Renosuke. Focus. Ooh, fancy cross-examination. Oh, I just realized the UI is different in a British court. Yeah. Alright.
Hold it!
Hold it! Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, sir.
That's right, sir, yes. Ever so cold it was, sir. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
That's right, sir.
Not all traveling in the same part of the bus. Of course, no. No.
Oh, we can, like, look at the other witnesses while we're doing it. Okay. Wait, pursue? What is this option? Well, I'm sure the tutorial, they'll give us the tutorial in a little bit. But this is a new mechanic. Interesting. I'm assuming we're looking for tells on the other witnesses and then we can, like, follow-up question them. If we do, like, if we see something interesting.
There were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one on light search, for example.
You're quite right at that, sir. No other passengers like that, no. None. And no one's moving. So nobody fled the scene of the crime then?
I have to say, the boss insists on running it does. Every evening, that last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what of it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence in the run, you see. Yes, I spent that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again.
Alright, I'll just run through everything. Okay.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage. That's right. When you stepped up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilden. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? McGilden is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. And let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilden. There is no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. Alright.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened. Didn't I already testify to that? Oh, our fair dinkum, hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days. Oh, no. I didn't mean that. This is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord!
Juror number 3, what's the meaning of this?
My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. Guilty! There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter, anyway.
Hold it! That is precisely what I was about to say. As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. Guilty!
What the? What is happening here? Let me see. Ah yes, it seems that's how members of the jury give their verdicts.
The fire?
Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Ugh. Now I'm even more worried than I was before.
Very well. The court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel of the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
This is a nightmare. Okay, press.
Hold it!
He stabbed him, you say, and you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I've been thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking out right from his belly. That huge, great knife.
A grim sight indeed.
Ah, that didn't help me at all. The jury looked like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGilder is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Oh, yes, sir. This is the knife you saw. Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it, the very one, sir. Is that? Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. I would know. That's the only way to kill people like me.
And is a blade of considerable size, counsel.
It is. And furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Please, no. M. For Magnus, perhaps. Or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
But there are M's everywhere. Yes, like in Mason.
Objection!
Oh, fancy objection. This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused.
Your conclusion is certainly compelling, counsel.
The murder weapon has been entered into the court record. We have now more evidence. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption.
Juror number 2. Go on.
Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know that we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish. Guilty! No. I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime.
Hold it. I have...
I'm doing so many voices now. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Guilty! Game over. We're 4-2. We are now game over. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who propose a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. I've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But... alright, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. Alright, let's take a look at the knife. We're getting evidence bit by bit. That part is a sheath, isn't it? Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Hmm? Oh, sorry, yes. I just don't really like blades. Oh. Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade, that's Kazuma's soul. Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. Examining the evidence. An ornate letter M. Undeniably Mr. Magnus McGilded's initial. And it's beautifully gilded too. It must be very valuable, I should think. Ah, what is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W? Yes, this is one of those, you know, turnabout cases. Ah, I get it. I get it. I'm afraid I don't know at all. Gyakuten? None desu ka? But I am sure of it is that this is an M. Oh. Well, that idea was quickly quashed. Yeah. Don't you know how to read cursive? You don't you? Ugh. That looks like a lot of blood. It surely is blood, the victim's. Ugh. An Englishman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Anything else weird or out of the ordinary? Initial... The inside? No. The grip? No. It is symmetrical. I think that's all the information I have right now.
Hold it!
I'm gonna press this one and I'm probably gonna get the last two, suddenly switching over to guilty as well, I think. What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be a passenger, sir. Yes, collapsed on the floor, he was. And... by the passenger. Obviously, you were referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And the other passenger had that knife in his hand, like this. By the other passenger, obviously, you're referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. What? Actually, let me take a quick look again. Stabbed once in the abdomen. Did go into the belly, yeah. About as deep as where you'd expect the blood to be, yeah. Why would there be blood on the glove, though? Well, he did say he touched him after that, so... My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, juror number 5. Do I take it that you too? As the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I say to myself. But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say. No, please, just keep an open mind a little long. Gear up now, Silverblaze. The finish is in sight. Guilty! Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. It's too kind, sir. This is too unkind, sir. which now means that 5 jurors agreed to condemn this man. Madame Juror number 6.
Yes, dear. What can I do for you?
You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand.
Oh, yes. I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know.
Then, pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning?
Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. A gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city.
That's right, a man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely.
Mother, when we go to the McGilded Public Library later and borrow some more books.
How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know? What kind of a man Magnus MacGilden really is? What kind of a man is he? The philanthropist, Magnus MacGilden, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one of the very darkest of souls. What?
Stone the crows!
MacGilden lends money at extortionate rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys upon the weak.
I've never heard any mention of that before.
Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madame. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? You're not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus MacGilden. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts.
Goodness gracious!
The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owed to take from him, his life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus MacGilden. I don't believe it.
Hold it!
If I might add something briefly, Mr. Sato. You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. MacGilden, but where's the evidence to support your claim?
What is a man? Did he have that? Did he have that on the desk this whole time and I didn't notice? Hang on. Or did that just appear? Alright, so this is his gimmick, huh? He drinks the wine in the court. Okay. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law.
Oh, there it is! Lorenzic hallowed chalice!
How can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Ah! As judicial assistant... well, my voice is going. As judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details on monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time.
A marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this evidence.
Alright. Take a look at it. This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Oh dear. Do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. I assure you we will not find Mr. Sholmes' name inside. Well, let's see what we find. Will we, though? I can't read this. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness! What is it? Look at this. Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh yes, of course. The banker. Why is his name in here? Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course. But this could be very useful information. Interesting. So... he owes money and, so he's trying to get him in trouble so you don't have to pay back? Interesting. Potentially. Is this page the same? Yeah. The back doesn't have anything. Okay. Interesting.
Ah, yes, Sir Guineas, the victim. All to consider was some.
The accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Did I peek under the seats of the omnibus? Yeah, the one side opens up to the compartment with the tools for the omnibus. Yeah, sorry, yeah, the maintenance tools. I did find that compartment. I don't think there's another one though.
Oh, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes.
Regrettably, madame, that is the modus operandi of the accused.
And it's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel! Still, maybe it's all for the best.
Ah, wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more before we...
I don't stand for nonsense. Guilty!
Game over. Oh wow, we're already face tasking? That's early. That was it. The last juror's decision. Save us, Susato. Give us the tutorial for that other thing. For the pressing thing. Ah, according to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. The final verdict. It's over then. Oh. There's a footnote, though. A footnote. However, the defense...
Oh, sis, I'm busy to hear an own agreement in this case.
Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision.
According to the law of this country, I will never conclude a trial. Delivering my final verdict, I trust there are no objections.
Despair. Already. Mr. Sato, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense... What did it say next? Oh, yes, of course. One moment. And all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty. Court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. Summation. Examination?
Objection!
Summation examination. From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Ah! Judging from the binding, I will say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text in British law wouldn't even given such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. What even is it, Mrs. Sato? This so-called summation examination? Oh, one moment, and I'll read about it. Pulling out the case law right now. You would demand the right to a proceeding before you even understand what it entails. Typical Nipponese. Oh no, he's racist. Well, a lot of people are racist back in this era. Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. Do what, exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions.
Yes, in times gone by, barristers have used summation examinations to attempt to influence the jury's decision. Every city we give something of a formality with no practical benefit really, so it rather fell out of use.
I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that, although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Summation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat? Assert our right! The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could prove vital in this trial.
The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination.
This is madness.
Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready?
Huh? Well, I'm not, There was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so...
All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached the decision.
On what grounds?
You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty.
Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold of all this justifying luck. That seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then, the summation examination. The defense proceeding no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity you've been looking for. To turn this trial around. To Gyakuten.
So be it then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGill, guilty of this most serious crime.
Judicial findings. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it had to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems.
4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices over 4 pence for years. The scoundrel stabbing the poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. Yeah, they're juggling like a pretty big cast now for each trial. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I'll have to throw everything I can at them, and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they've reached the conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. So pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear. I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make their arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. You must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if you can identify any contradictory statements. If you can, we can contrast the statements, and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. I see. So it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say they were looking for. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off. Who's that proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Alright, interesting. Okay, defense rebuttal. So, the immediate thing that stands out to me, fares are 20 pence. This will be 16 pence. Oh wait, we can press all of them individually. I see. Well, we can press them first then.
Hold it!
Certainly, the testimonies of her suggest the victim and Mr. McGooder were alone inside the carriage. Precisely my point. But, could there be some other explanation? Something we haven't considered yet? Such as? Haha, well, perhaps that's something we could, all work out together now. Now listen here, maybe you don't know how things work around here because you're from foreign climes. Oh, everyone's just casually racist. But we're here to form our opinions as individuals. And I have. Oh dear, he doesn't appear to be in the mood to consider an alternative point of view, does he? No, I'm going to have to pit the jurors against one another, like Susato-san said. Finding contradictions in these 6 people's assertions is the only way I'm going to succeed. Okay, so we don't need to press them just yet in this one. Alright.
Objection!
The prices have indeed increased. Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other. They do. Wow, I mixed the voice there. They do. Explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said? I saw Civil Race's main and name. I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. Oh, this is dynamic. We're actually playing around in the court space now because we're actually using the
Yeah, we're using the well of the court. That's fun. According to the group testimony you've heard so far, there were 4 passengers in the omnibus on the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right. I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 has also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. That it is, a fair and convenient single price, just the way London's carriages should be operated. But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Why, man, why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If we do the multiplication. Huh. It would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare.
1 person's fare?
Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night. It's distinctively possible. There was another passenger we've heard nothing about.
Good gracious!
This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword. Just because your coachman's claims mostly do not add up, your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy. I beg your pardon? Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end, hmm? Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of scales. Now hold your horse there, coachman. We were all in agreement. Why do you have to go and... Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo. Shouldn't it be no vote though? I mean, I guess the game system is such that you can only be guilty or innocent, but like, I would imagine like you would shift it from guilty to no vote instead of innocent, but alright, sure. Ah, this is all very irritating. Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same. For the love of Mike, not you as well. A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. Really? I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo, you did it. If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more. Actually, there is something else that's bothering me about a couple of your assertions. And that's where you must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other, and show there's another contradiction in your assertions. Exactly. You can do it.
Well, the scale of justice has shifted, but they're still way heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with the submission examination.
Continuing my leaning to innocent, I should like to give a slip shop bookkeeper to say for himself. Beppo, this trial to continue so I get the ball of this corruption. Not guilty, I see. Stabbing the poor man on the floor, yeah, that's definitely weird, because stuck the chap next to him like that, yeah. Would be these
Objection!
two. Those 2 statements are completely contradictory.
What? Explain, counsel, post-haste.
Oh, dearie me. I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? I've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. What? Can't you see that I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Ha! Want to test me, do you? It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up, just like the prim banker said.
Yes, that was Mr. Fairfax's testimony. Quite true.
Now then, juror number 6.
Oh, is that me, is it?
What can I do for you? What can I do you for, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madame?
Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor.
The coachman said so. Now don't move. Take a look at these 2 jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor.
Well, never. They're stabbing in totally different directions.
What?
Bless my stitches. What a muddle.
What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth.
Oh.
But why? Why the dickens would they lie? I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience?
Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me.
I can't abide people telling lies. The scales. I don't believe it. They're perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Wait! Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. Blatant racism in the courtroom, right? If I could use magic, do you really think I'll be putting myself through all this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. Huh? With me? What exactly is the problem? What of it if 2 witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? What of it? Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he sat next to him on the omnibus, and his young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, and then the Shylock stabbed him again, and his old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, hmm? Who are you calling a dandy, sir? Why I should take this knife to you? Who are you calling old? Why I should take this needle to you? They're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the 2 witnesses see 2 different moments of the same crime? Out of the question. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it, you dark jinx? Come on, out with it. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What? What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's where we want to see. I say the 2 witnesses saw 2 different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me some proof. Looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable hard evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the 2 witnesses saw 2 different moments of the same crime, as proven by the autopsy report.
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once. Only once. It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely 1 time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Alright, I concede defeat. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leading to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. With 1. The right to continue the trial, at least. What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we've had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one, and if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. Please tell me he's a barber.
Well, in quite a remarkable turn of events, the first submission examination is flipped as well as the justice, and the result stated to be guilty for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large majority along the jury for me to reject the case. Now let's continue. Yes, my beard is very long. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places, and I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. Yes. I'm Santa Claus. So, Lord Van Zeeks, continue to substantiate the case of the prosecution, if you please.
Are you gonna drink it, sir? You're just gonna throw it around? Oh! Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Zeeks!
Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during the summation examination, so I honor the deathly silence and listen to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Are you sure insulting the jury is the best way to get them on your side? Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No. And why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. The coat is off. Bring forth the witnesses. Once more. You dramatic mofo. Witnesses. I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir, I heard it.
Yes, sir, on the end, the coachman. I believe it's Bippo.
Yes, sir, my lord, sir.
It transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger of your omnibus. You will be found guilty of perjury. Your advice to better than mine, sir.
Oh, mi Dio.
Now then, witnesses, I hereby call you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination.
Alright. That was a lot. But, I don't know when the next break is, and we are just about coming up on 2 hours. So, I think we need to take a break. I am a little spender, it's a lot of voices. I'm having a lot of fun though, but this seems like a good place to take a break. You know, I'm assuming this case will go on for quite a bit, so... You guys good with this? We stop right before the, we're stopping just after the summation, so you know, we'll be going back into cross-examination in the next section. So that should be good, right? All good? Well, in that case, thank you for watching Great Ace Attorney. We will be back soon and we will be continuing this exciting cross-examination. Until then, don't get arrested.